Cajole. Verb. To persuade someone gently through flattery or coaxing. She cajoled the shy dog closer with cheese and a voice pitched low and steady. Civic. Adjective. Relating to a city, its people, or public life. The mural became a point of civic pride, and schoolchildren stopped beneath it each morning as buses sighed at the curb. Wary. Adjective. Cautious because you sense a possible problem. She was wary of committing to the vendor after the vague demo, so she requested a pilot with clear success criteria and a written exit option. Epigram. Noun. A short, clever statement, often one that stings. His favorite epigram warned that reform and revenge arrive in the same coat. Inculcate. Verb. To fix an idea in someone through steady teaching or repetition. Parents inculcate manners by repetition, the same please and thank you until it sticks. Rescind. Verb. To officially cancel a decision or agreement. When the invitation rested on a mistaken date, the hosts rescinded it gently and sent a new card with the correct evening inked in green. Obsequious. Adjective. Eager to obey or please someone in a way that feels excessive and insincere. The obsequious waiter hovered after every bite, praising choices they had not tasted, until the couple asked for a quieter corner table. Circumspect. Adjective. Careful to avoid risks or saying too much. He was circumspect during the interview, answering warmly but pausing to choose words that would not betray colleagues who were not there to defend themselves. Definitive. Adjective. Authoritative, settling doubt. The field guide offered a definitive description of the mushroom stem, and they left the patch untouched. Broach. Verb. To raise a sensitive topic for the first time. She waited until dessert to broach the loan, forks pausing over the pie. Exhort. Verb. To strongly encourage someone to do something. The coach did not shout, but he did exhort the team to stay disciplined, reminding them that focus matters most when legs grow tired. Beatific. Adjective. Showing perfect peaceful happiness, almost saintly. The monk wore a beatific smile as he swept snow from the steps at dawn. Eloquent. Adjective. Expressing ideas clearly and persuasively. His eloquent toast balanced humor and gratitude, and even the quiet relatives at the far end of the table leaned in to listen. Anecdote. Noun. A brief story that illustrates a point. She opened with an anecdote about losing a boot in a stream, and suddenly the safety rules felt memorable. Reverberate. Verb. To echo and continue to be felt or heard. The closing chord reverberated through the theater, and for a moment nobody clapped because the sound still seemed to hang in the air like dust in sunlight. Redress. Verb. To correct something wrong or unfair, often by making amends. The museum moved to redress decades of exclusion by commissioning new exhibits and hiring curators from the communities whose stories had been sidelined. Resilient. Adjective. Able to recover quickly from difficulty. After the grant was rejected, the resilient team regrouped, rewrote the proposal, and secured funding from a different foundation. Nascent. Adjective. Just beginning to develop and not yet fully formed. The nascent neighborhood association met in a borrowed classroom, passing a hat for flyers and arguing politely about whether potlucks counted as outreach. Incredulous. Adjective. Unwilling or unable to believe something. He looked incredulous when the librarian announced the fine was forgiven, and his relief arrived slowly, like warmth returning to cold fingers. Deliberate. Adjective. Done intentionally and with careful thought. His deliberate pacing made the workshop feel calm, and participants had time to reflect instead of rushing from slide to slide. Furtive. Adjective. Trying to avoid being noticed, often in a suspicious way. He gave a furtive glance toward the door each time it opened, as if expecting someone to interrupt the conversation that had grown too personal to be public. Linger. Verb. To remain longer than expected or desired. The last note of the violin seemed to linger in the rafters, and no one spoke until the applause rose like rain. Abrogate. Verb. To repeal or cancel something formally, especially a right or agreement. The council voted to abrogate the old parking deal, freeing funds for buses that actually ran on time. Erode. Verb. To wear away bit by bit. Waves eroded the chalk cliffs until the path above grew narrow. Deplorable. Adjective. Seriously bad or unacceptable in a way that draws strong disapproval. The shelter conditions were deplorable, with damp straw and broken latches that let the wind pour through. Impetus. Noun. A force or event that makes something happen or progress. The unexpected customer letter provided the impetus for redesigning the onboarding flow because it described confusion the team had stopped noticing. Xenophile. Noun. A person who is attracted to foreign people or cultures. A lifelong xenophile, she collected spices she could not yet pronounce and cooked them anyway. Verbose. Adjective. Using more words than the idea needs. His verbose letter wandered 3 pages before admitting he would be late. Panache. Noun. Stylish confidence that shows in how someone acts or dresses. She wore the thrift store coat with such panache that strangers asked where she bought it. Admonish. Verb. To warn firmly because someone did wrong. She admonished the puppy softly when it dug under the fence toward the chickens. Ardent. Adjective. Very enthusiastic and heartfelt in feeling. She was an ardent supporter of the library tax, even when neighbors grumbled at her door. Scathing. Adjective. Criticizing someone or something very harshly. The review was scathing about the film's pacing, comparing the second act to waiting for a late train in an empty station with broken departure boards. Resolute. Adjective. Firm and determined. She stayed resolute during the long hearing, refusing to be rushed, and her steady voice made the room feel less like a spectacle and more like a search for truth. Arbitrary. Adjective. Based on personal choice rather than a clear reason. The team pushed back on the arbitrary deadline, asking for a schedule tied to testing milestones, instead of a date that looked good on a slide. Avert. Verb. To prevent something bad from happening. She caught the toddler's sleeve and averted a tumble down the porch steps, then laughed with relief as the wind snapped the screen door behind them. Falter. Verb. To weaken or stumble for a moment. Her voice did not falter when she named what she needed. That's everything for this session. If this helped you, subscribe for more. See you next time.